Hello and welcome to another Warno cast for the SD League Division 4. Today with Styx, that hasn't been casted before, against RegMonkey, that we have seen one match of earlier. And the first map will be Mount River, where Styx has picked 101st Airborne Division, which I think will be very interesting to see on this map. And the counter pick will be 9th Panzerdivision, while on the second map, chosen by RegMonkey, Omen, we will see Force Moto against the second Panzergrenadier. The first division I want to take a look at is the 101st by Styx. We see nothing special in the logistic tab. We can see in the infantry tab some aero rifle leaders that come as a Blackhawk. So that's for some quick zone capturing or maybe some sneaky play around the flanks. We can see two cards of aero toes, but they are not coming in the Blackhawk but in the Goat. While we have an MP, some rifles, engineers, but we also have rifles in the Chinook and the Green Berets that are special forces with shock and 40 men, so very big heavy infantry squad with a triple VAT on them in this case. So just two for this card, but very effective. Artillery, two 155mm and the usual mortars for smoke play. Tanks, M1 IPs, 18 frontal armor, a 70 pen gun. Not amazing Abrams, not the best, but still very decent tanks to give some firing support. And the recon tab, we can see some deltas. Important to note, the one card comes with triple VAT, and they are special forces, shock and airborne. And the triple VAT infantry comes with a Humvee Delta that has a heavy machine gun, and together with some snipers as recons and the aero scouts that come with a Humvee, not in the Blackhawk. So very efficient opener with Delta, snipers and maybe the Green Berets. So that will be a very significant part for the strategy of 101st to get an early lead. AA, the usual suspects. And the helicopter tab, we have the triple VAT DAP helicopter, so that might be also very important to deal out some damage from the air. And in the air tab for planes, we can see two cards of AA planes with the F-15C, but just one HE bomber. So let's see what the 9th Panzer of RegMonkey pushes against this with. In the logistic tab, we can see just supply trucks, no leader unit. While in the infantry tab, we have one Mod Schützenführer that comes with a normal truck, no BMP as vehicle. We can see a bunch of BMP-1s and some updated BMP-2s as transports for the infantry units. A lot of infantry units with Resolute for this division, but no very special infantry unit like special forces. On the artillery tab, we can see the rocket launcher with napalm and some 152mm artillery, and the mortars most likely for smoke play. And the big thing for this division, a bunch of cheap T-72 tanks. They're not the variation with rockets, but they're resolute and they have 70 frontal armor and a 19 pen gun. So a lot of good tanks for this division. That will definitely put the 101st under some pressure once they can build up some numbers. Weaken tab not as strong as the 101st, so that will definitely take a bit away. We have the Schwimmwagen MAF for the Aufklärer as transport. I doubt that will really matter, but since it's an unusual view, I thought I mentioned it. AA tab, the usual suspect as well. Krupp, Streller, Schilker as infantry support as well. And the Igler for infantry AA. Me2 Jörn and the AT helicopter, also pretty usual. And in the air tab, we can see two cards as well for AA planes, but cheaper planes that are with 3 planes per card. And we can see 3 rocket planes and 2 AT planes. So the rocket planes will most likely help against the infantry of 101st. But we'll have to see if we will be able to even play his planes, or if the AA will be too strong, and how far the game actually goes. So let's take a look at our first map, Mount River. On the left side in blue we can see Styx with the 101st, while on the right side in red we can see RegMonkey with the 9th Panzer. If you take a quick look at the deployment, we can see only, well, no, it's actually 2 Delta squads. I was about to say it's just 1, but they were close together, so I didn't see the second one. They are both going towards the upper center position. 1 aero scouts for the northern flank, and another aero scout for the southern. While we do have a leader for the south, together with a TOW 2, it's likely to go here in the tower, and an infantry unit to give it some backup. And 184 helicopter, the aero rifles with 84, not the helicopter. And it's going for the center. Not as much as an investment as I thought. I imagined that there would be more helicopters towards the center from 101st. While we do have a leader that's going to the north first. While the TOW 2 will go over here in the standard building. 2 infantry units to the north. While the Stinger will come to the north as well to give some AA support. I'm a bit surprised. I thought there would be more action for this 2-point zone in the center to secure this entire area for 101st. Maybe he believes the Delta will be enough, or maybe that his opponent will invest more in the other areas because it is 101st, so it is to be expected perhaps that they go to the center. I'm not sure. Or there's more invested into the Air Force, and that's why there's less units on the ground. But I expected some more helicopters for the early game. Let's see what the red side counters with. We can see 1 scouting helicopter that goes over the river. Well, actually, is it a river? No, it's a lake. That is a river from Mount River. And the helicopter goes to the lake. Infantry scout forward to the building. Backed up by a Shilka with some infantry units. So maybe that will be able to push forward with the ME2 Yarn as support. While for the center we have 1 scout over here. And together with a Coup as support, some infantry units with an Igla and the Mudschützen unloading over here. So no push for the center zone in the early game. So that will most likely fall to the blue side. While a lot of units coming forward in the north. Another Shilka as support, and several Mudschützen with BMP-1s, and a leader that will unload in the first zone and then probably advance from there. You can see another scouting helicopter going for the north, and an Aufklärer for this very important building that has a lot of vision in this important area for most matches. And the last scouts for the north, for the road over here, also very important. So very solid positioning for RegMonkey, and it will be interesting to see if we will be able to pressure enough in the north, or if giving up the 2-point zone in the center will bite him in the ass. And as with the previous matchup, I would like to pick 1 hero unit that we try to see if it survives the entirety of the match. And that takes for this time this scout that will go to the north, which I think the name over here is for the transport. I'm not sure. I don't think we can see the name of the infantry unit, but I want to see if this scout will be able to survive for the entire match, or if that will fall eventually before we reach the final seconds. So 1 AA plane now getting onto the field will be able to help protecting the helicopter, and might be able to pick off the scout helicopters and the ME2 Yarn to save the units in the south, which do not have a ground-based AA to support them. The first skirmishes will probably take place in the north. I don't think the units in the center will meet, and similar in the south. They will probably not reach each other, but stay in their defensive position, unless the helicopters find something important to see. Then actually the Phantom, well, it's now coming in. So I guess if you count that as skirmish, that would be the first kill. ME2 Yon. Not very expensive, so it's not a big loss. ME2 scouting helicopter is going back instead of landing, as a MiG-23 does come in and gets a hit on the Phantom. And does it get a second hit? No. Third one? Also no. Fourth rocket? Also no. Gun does get a kill. I forgot to check why the kill feed is not showing, so that's annoying, so that we can't see which unit has been killed. Actually, the leader in the helicopter coming for the zone where the Humvee is already on the way. I think that would be better going into the center. That's a bit confusing. The Humvee over here going to the forest. The Aufklärer are moving forward to check if the 101st does have units in the center zone, which is very likely, but he wants to make sure. The leader in the north for the red side is moving forward, but will be there after the aero rifles and Humvee leader. And actually our hero mod Aufklärer Heilbronn is moving forward and getting into the first battle. But he is protected by a BMP-1 and some more infantry units and IFVs, so he should be fine for now. In the south, no action, all units just standing by. The helicopter of the leader actually got hit, not hit, but shot at by an Eagler. That could have been a very annoying loss if he would have gotten stunned and then killed. Delta able to fire off some shots with the sniping rifle, and now with a light support weapon as well. But now the BMP-1 does get involved. While in the north, the push of the red forces does happen. So while the blue side has a +3 tick and the positioning, the red side does have more numbers at the moment. At least in the north, it's looking less good in the center. The BMP-1 is annoying, maybe with another tank. Those could really do a lot in the center that isn't yet really fortified with ATGMs and helicopters and such. While in the north, we do have a rocket plane coming in to get some more damage done. The aero rifles leader pushing forward actually. Well, he will get a temporary contest for the zone, but that doesn't seem like an area he will survive in. I can hear some bullets flying in the south, where the TOW2 is fighting against the BMP-1s, and the Modschützen running forward. But the TOW2 gets a kill on the BMP-1. Actually, the aero rifle leader does survive for the time being. The units not really around to help with it. The Shilka not giving firing support. So for the time being, the zone in the north is contested. And in the center, both deltas actually die. That's, I don't know, one is over here. But that's still a big loss if the BMPs were able to pick that off from afar. Aero scouts able to shoot at the Modschützen, barely in range of the assault rifles. And now some more rocket planes coming in to pick off the infantry units. They do get hit by the aero stinger, but will be able to make it out alive after dealing some damage. Zone in the north now secured for the red side, and technically he could try to push for the second zone, but he isn't feeling safe about it yet. Some more. Oh, oh, that was a leader tank. That was. I don't know if that was a T-55 or T-72. It died too quickly after getting into the screen, so I couldn't really read the name in time. We can see an artillery piece now trying to take out the TOW-2. That is out of ammo, but the red side doesn't know that. The Blackhawk with the leader does make it out alive. So despite the Eagler still being around, he just says, fuck it, I'm out of here. M1 IP Abrams gets one kill and can probably push forward and get some more, because there's very little to defend against a tank at the moment. And there isn't much coming, apart from a T-72. But until that arrives, the Abrams will be able to deal a lot of damage. Chaparral as reinforcements from the blue side. So far no artillery. And for the time being, the TOW-2 survives, and the +2 ticks and gives the blue side more and more points. But that is pretty much what usually happens with such an airborne division, that it will get some early point tick and it will be up to the other side to eventually reduce it and get the points back later. Chaparral under fire by the artillery. I think the artillery is manually moved after 2 shots, because it was like 2 shots at the TOW and then 2 shots at the Chaparral, which I don't really agree with. Sometimes due to the inaccuracy, the third shot might be needed to get a kill. It does have a salvo length of 3, so if you don't move it by hand, it does fire a third shot. BMP2s in 1, giving some nice firing support from the backline. Gets aero scouts. Enemy scouting helicopter far in the back. Probably scared of AA, or well, it moved back earlier because of the AA plane. We see a second artillery piece now coming in. Still firing at the location the Chaparral was earlier. But now with the Abrams, I think the position of the blue forces are better secured in the north now, and that the push of the red side seems less and less likely. Or less and less effective. I think he had an advantage earlier, but now it looks difficult. BMP goes down to a Dragon rocket. And despite not having that many units and being out of ammo on the TOW, the blue side is able to hold down here. There isn't really much of a push going on in the center. And I don't know, I think there was time to push earlier in the north. Now it seems that the blue side has enough to defend it and that it won't be without a lot of losses. And the tick will continue and put the red side under pressure. And that's exactly the problem I talked about in the deployment phase. If the zone with +2 in the center is taken, the pressure is on the other side, and they do have to stop it and get a point tick themselves eventually. And as long as that doesn't happen, the blue side can stay defensive, can get their TOWs and their tanks onto the battlefield. Interesting, we can see the Blackhawk leader and aerial rifles in the south and helicopters, together with now a green beret in transport and helicopter. So that will be a little attack on the back zone, I assume, for Lima. There isn't really any other zone further back, and for Bravo, Bravo would be +2, but then the helicopter should be in the north, not down here in the south, obviously. Artillery getting some damage done. Humvee Delta shot by the Mordschützen. I'm not sure if at this short distance the helicopters are even needed for such a sneaky backplay in the south. But I still like it. I think, especially since you're up in the points and you want to put your opponent under pressure, I think based on how the smoke was shot, yeah, the rear was actually facing towards the enemy for this Abrams. So the smoke was fired in the wrong direction, and he got a lot of damage from a rear hit. He's lucky that he survived, but maybe with some supplies he will come back to battle later. Some more artillery play and rocket plane to deal some damage. You can see 2 mortars coming in. So maybe the red forces of RegMonkey will try to use some smoke play to go into the zone. We don't see a leader in the center yet to capture the zone. And there isn't one in the south to contest the zone either. Well, in the north we technically have a leader, but that seems to be meant to capture this zone eventually. But so far T-72 does get hit by the TOW-2 and is already damaged and stressed a lot. The other T-72 not moving forward. And the T-72 goes down. So the big firing support from the back goes up in flames. Artillery. It gets a chaparral, I assume. And now the mortars. Oh, actually, they're using the damage shells, if I'm seeing that correctly. Because it's not white, it's red. So they're trying to kill infantry units in these forests. Or at least damage and suppress them. And then maybe a push will happen from the other side. Helicopters not moving forward yet. So that's really something to look out for. The Heilbronn Aufklärer is still alive, our hero unit. So maybe he will actually make it through the game. No push from either side yet in the south. And the Mordschützen in the north going forward. And the leader wants to contest the zone now. The blue leader is over here. AT plane. Maybe we'll try to kill the Abrams. But does get hit by one of the... Was it the Chaparral or was it an IHawk? Was actually the Chaparral? Okay. No, it still is... But it was resupplied. The rocket looked like it went such a long way that I thought it must be an IHawk. 3,500 meter range. It's interesting that there is no IHawk yet for the blue side. They probably couldn't afford it yet. Chaparral does get a hit in. Aerostinger's not there close enough. The T-72 in the north now moving forward, but the M1 IP that was heavily damaged before is now back in battle and full at health. Scouts going down. And the zone was actually fully captured by the red side. Stop the tick. Mortar keeps hitting. Might be able to get a kill eventually. Rocket plane makes it out alive. TOW-2 almost out of rockets now. But another BMP going down. And the red side does have to retreat. So the zone will be recaptured by the blue side eventually. Stinger going a rather dangerous path. On a mule with an MG. And going down behind the building. Unfortunate passing there. Oh, and there we have the helicopter attack with the leader, Green Berets and aero rifles. So after the point tick was stopped, now he says, alright, that's my time, I need to push and get some point ticks again. I think he could move the leader in the north by now, but he's not the one that has to be in a rush, so I think it's fine. But still would be better to move earlier rather than later. Oh, 2 in the building goes down to the artillery fire. Scout might go down as well. Infantry units are still getting hit by the mortar. Maybe he didn't notice that yet because he was focusing on a different area of the map. TOW2 under fire by the artillery. So much better artillery play on the red side. But still 1,100 points behind. So that's probably be the difference maker. TOW2 finds a shaker. Gets the kill. Oh, AA protection lost. Zone in the backline in the south. Now getting captured. And an AT and an Mi-2 Yorn helicopter come in to deal with this. Would be nice to see an AA plane. Also OH helicopters now as an AA support for these units. Because they can deal if they go into the forest or are hiding behind buildings and the vehicles have to get close. Then they can actually deal with it pretty well. But for flying units and from far distance, they're actually easy pickoffs. That was very unfortunate. It's a bit unfortunate that this is not a building that gives cover from vision. So the aero units die before making it to the forest. AA plane does a lot of stress damage, but goes down. Because the helicopters were so close, all got stressed and one got damaged. Green Berets now in range for their AT missiles. And the second AA plane comes in, gets damaged, but kills 2 helicopters and a lot of helicopters for the red side. So he doesn't want to deal with this bullshit any longer. But at the same time, well, no, there isn't really much of a battle going on for the center or north. So the focus both players now in the south. +4 tick actually for the blue side. So since he captured the zone back, and he did get captured of Lima with a sneaky play, which I love a lot. He is at 1,300 points and still going up. And while we did get a lot of helicopters, he didn't invest into the early commanding unit to recapture the zone, but waited another tick. So that will further give a bigger advantage to the blue side. M1IP Abrams CP now coming for the center. We already have one other tank over here, the one in the north. So this area is really nicely protected now by the blue forces. I think actually the center would be weaker to attack, but that's always easy to say for us with the vision. Now some smoke play to try and push through the south. It is just a 1-point zone, so it's not as efficient. But he needs to do something, and he already has the leader in the area, so advancing with that leader and all of these helicopters might make some sense. T-72 gets bored. I'm not sure if this is really the best position for the tank. I think to support the push in the south would be better than having it defensive somewhere around here. I'm not sure what the idea behind that is. The infantry units are starting the battle, but the helicopters are not moving forward yet. They are not fully out of rockets, but maybe they're waiting for some resupplies. Leader not moving forward. Artillery is still doing decent damage, aiming at the TOW2. The pivots getting an infantry unit. Oh, was it the hero scout? Well, Heilbronn did die in the end, so sadly another game where the opener hero unit did not make it through. I think it's relatively difficult to have a unit that survives the entirety of the match if it's not a scout that's in an area where the people don't fight. Several of the blue units aren't taking part in the battle, so if that scout would fall back, then the other units would join in. More Abrams coming in as support, pivot, and ATGMs in the shape of an Apache ATAS and the TOW2. So it looks very good for the Blue Forces at the moment. 1,600 points, +2. So a miracle needs to happen right now. A miracle in the shape of a very quick capture of a zone or two. If that doesn't happen, I do not believe that there will be much more left for this game in the next few minutes. The F-15C Eagle now coming in to try and take out these helicopters. Gets the first two. The red AA plane in the north going down. And actually, there are now so many units of blue in the north and they have gotten so many kills from afar. They could push forward and take the zone. He isn't trying to do that yet, but it looks very good for him. Goes out, did get a hit at the end, but will make it out alive. But yeah, the red side needs to push through fast in the south to even have, well, enough time to really try to do something else. The coup not hitting the eagle. Eagle was 40% ECM. So it can avoid some rockets, but not forever. 3 minutes left. Not really a push in the center going on, and RegMonkey taps out and realizes he can't get this many points anymore. So victory for Styx in his first game, at least the first one that I'm casting, with a kill ratio of 1.32. Got the early lead, was able to secure all the areas. Very nicely done. Aero rifles dragons, but a lot of kills against the BMP-1s. Also the TOW2 was very efficient, even got the T-72 leader tank. Some more aero rifle dragons, so these really did a great job together with the TOW2 for Styx. And the pivots as infantry supporting unit, killing more infantry units than planes. And on the red side, we can see one T-72 that got a bunch of kills. Actually also killing a helicopter, probably on the ground, and an Abrams, but not being able to make a difference. So that was Mount River. Let's head to the second map, Omen, but first we take a look at the divisions. For the second map, Omen, Styx has picked 2nd Panzergrenadier. Nothing special in the logistic tab for this all-rounder division. While in the infantry tab we can see some forward deploying infantry units with the Fallschirmjäger and the Milan 2s. And we also have Milan 2s without the Fallschirmjäger, with a airborne trait for the forward deployment. But they come with a Marder that has a Milan as well. That's why they're more expensive. While the other Milan 2 that has forward deployment only comes with an Iltis. We see some Panzergrenadiers, one of them with double vet, and they all come with a Marder 1A3 Milan. So a lot of infantry supporting vehicles to do the job, while the Panzergrenadiers themselves, infantry units with just 6 men, have good weapons, have good support, but relatively weak and not good meat shields. While the Pioneers come with 10 men for close quarter combats, and we have one leader card. In the artillery tab, we can see 2 cards of upwetted M110s and 3 Mörser for the smoke play, most likely. Tank tabs, the main focus are the Leopard 2A3s, while we also have some Sheepa variations that can especially be used in the early game, which have light frontal armor, but 70 pen gun is very nice. That can deal a lot of damage to many tanks. Weekend tab, we can see some Fallschirm Aufklärer with the airborne trait for forward deployment. So together with all the airborne units, some early pressure on the opponent. We have a cheap helicopter that can be used for scouting in the early game as well, and an unarmored Fuchs Resit. And in the A tab, interesting, no Fliegerfaust or Zwillinger, just 2 cards of Eyehawk, one with upwetting, and the Gepard 1A1. So I assume the Eyehawk with the upwetting will be played in the early game. Helicopter, just one card of the PAR 101 that has a 24-pan rocket to give some support from the back. Can be pretty nice, but usually goes down pretty fast as well, so we have to see if that will even matter. And in the air tab we can see two cards of AA planes. We can see a Tornado seed plane and the Tornado IDS with the AT rockets and cheap Harrier HE2 bomber. So we don't see the Mehrzweckwaffe, but some other Tornadoes in this deck. And the last division for this matchup, 4th Moto, the counter pick by RegMonkey. In the logistic tab, nothing special. In the infantry tab, we can see a bunch of cheap infantry units that come with some light supporting vehicles, as well as some airborne special forces, the Fallschirmjäger, some with metas that have long range, and some 80-pan RPGs with shorter range, but both cards with special forces, shock and airborne. Also airborne, the SPG-9 with a tank gun, which is an interesting choice, and with 3 VETs. Can be interesting to see if those will be able to deal with the Mardas, the IFV of the 2nd Panzergrenadiers. A card of Concourse and the leader, again without BMP or other armored transport, just a cheap truck. Artillery tab, some 152mm artillery pieces and one of the multi-rocket launcher. Tank tab, we can see a bunch of T-55s, 14 armor, 40 pen gun. They do have Resolute. And the variation AM2B comes with a missile that has long range and 18 pan. So that will be the unit to look out for during the match, if those will be able to make a difference. In the recon tab, we can see some special forces Sprengtaucher with 8 HP. So those might be important for the early game. And the Einsatzgruppe, also special forces shock, also 8 man. So these are definitely some units that can be used in the early game to get some ground. There would also be Scharfschützen, but not this time for RegMonkey. AA tab, Kruppstreller, Schilker, Igler, similar as last time. Helicopter, one AA helicopter and an AT helicopter. And in the air department we can see one card only for AA planes, so one less than his opponent, and also a seed plane. So it will be interesting to see if the seed plane will be able to deal with the 2 cards of Eyehawks. And we can see also a MiG AT plane and an HE bomber. On the left side we can see Styx in blue again with 2nd Panzergrenadier against RegMonkey on the right side in red with the 4th Moto. If we look at the deployment, we can see it looks in the north and south to protect the flanks. We'll go all the way over here and to this hill another Fallschirmaufklärer. That's one of the Airborne Infantry divisions. It's just 4-man recon squad, but a 21-pan Panzerfaust. While we have some airborne scouts, Fallschirmjäger and Milan 2 ATGMs, all heading towards the center and the north. We have for the southern backpoint Alpha, a leader and a Panzergrenadier with a Marder going in the forest in front of it to protect it. And we can see a blob of other units, a Gepard, 2 Iltis-Führung. We can see Fuchs and an Eyehawk. If we check the Eyehawk, probably for the center, yes. The Pioneers for the big battle in the town in the center. The Gepard is going also for the town, so to give some support for the infantry units. And leader for the backpoint, and the second leader is going up north for this zone. And we do have one other leader for here. So we have actually four leader units. That's actually a lot, but there are a lot of zones in this map, which is a mirrored map, which makes it very interesting that there isn't really a side with a bigger advantage. And it's pretty big, so there's a lot of space for some fast movement. We'll have to see if either unit, either division will be able to make proper use of it in this matchup. While from the red side, you can also see a lot of forward deployment. A scout for the south, the usual scouting helicopter to see if anything tries to push through. Several infantry units for the center. They are upwetted, so that will be a really nice force for the center, but no IFVs as support. But we do have some units, one of the leaders going for the south, while we do have infantry for the center, and the tank is, or here support AA and infantry support from the south, coup to protect the tank and in general all units from the air units, and also a leader and some infantry units for the north. So on both sides we see several, well, it's just two leaders, so it's not that heavy of an investment in leaders actually. So there is no leader for the north at the immediate start, if I haven't missed it yet. So he will secure the area first, takes the zone in the south and north, and then send a leader for the zone in the center. So that will be interesting to see if that plays out. And there we go. There is no early plane for either side. At least doesn't seem like it at the moment. Never mind. As usual, when I say something, it happens a second later. So one MiG-29 to support the skies. I'm not sure if that's really needed against 2nd Panzergrenadier, as 2nd Panzergrenadier doesn't have, well, many helicopters. Like, not many units that can come in helicopters, one scout, I think. And the attack helicopters are not really that good for an early push. So it's uncommon, I think, for 2nd Panzer to really do much airplay in the early minutes. And there isn't much in the sky for the red side, apart from the scouting helicopters for 30 points to protect. So I'm not sure if that's, in this matchup, in this map, really needed, but might be a common play to just always have a plane in the early game. Is it the first point tick? Yeah, that's the first point tick invested in the AA Tornado. So as counter to the MiG on the other side, now a Tornado in the skies. 250 point plane. But, well, there's now an Me-24D AA helicopter. So after killing the scouts, maybe it can fight off these units, or it will just drive into them and get a bunch of hits and die. That can also happen. And it does die, but to the coup. So I was wrong, but result is the same. The Milan 2 actually gets on a lot of pressure. The SPG giving some firing support. Kills the Milan 2. So it's interesting to see that the SPG actually does some work already. The upwetted SPGs of RegMonkey. Fallschirmjäger now under heavy fire by the Gepard and going down already, while the Fallschirmaufklärer get shot at by the T-55. There isn't an immediate tank from the blue side, so not much that can shoot at the T-55 now that the ATGM got destroyed. It's a bit of an advantage for the red side at the moment, for the center. Führung is going for the zone, while the leader on the other side not yet, never mind, not yet bored, was wrong, it is already close to the zone. But I think it's the one from the north that actually went south towards the center. FS Einsatzgruppe, fighting off some Fallschirmjägers. There are more infantry units around actually for the blue side if you count the leader in. But one of them is heavily damaged and now dead, so still the advantage. For the red side, the seaplane comes in, tries to get the Gepard, but did get hit and missed its own shot. So seaplane out of combat for a while. Fallschirmjäger Special Forces continuing to move forward. Together with the SPV as firing support, they can do a lot of damage. And the leader will, now that this area is under control or secured, move forward and contest the zone. The Special Forces scouts in the south quite far forward. Might be able to pick off a Marder if it's driving through this area. While an attack helicopter and scouting helicopter in the south looks moved forward, so it sees more than it's an early game. That's quite nice that you remember to secure and check the flanks. Milan 2 and Fallschirmjäger under threat by the Fallschirmjäger Metis. And in the center, the infantry units with a tank moving forward. There is no scout with these units, so they will see the Jägerführer a bit late. Oh, if the T-55 can get the unit in the transport, that would be annoying. Oh! It's not the strongest infantry unit, but still to lose a Marder and the unit inside would be devastating, but at least the infantry unit does make it out alive. But now the zone is under contest. T-55 did eat a rocket, but able to smoke off and retreat. There's a supply truck nearby that could be used to repair it back up to heads. The scouting helicopter now coming in to help with the vision. But now with the 3 Panzergrenadiers and the Milan 2 in a nice position. Well, a bit far forward, given that the infantry units behind it are still fighting. But otherwise it's a nice position. HE plane now coming in. Oh, it gets hit before it drops the bombs. So never mind, all the hype for nothing. And it is going down to the IHawk on the way out. It is the IHawk with veterancy. The Marder is still alive, but I think there was another scout that got killed as the Einsatzgruppe moved forward. And maybe the second infantry squad will get the Milan, because they won't get vision very early in the forest. Panzergrenadier gets some damage, but the Jägerführer, most importantly, goes down to the helicopter right now. If it still has a few bullets left and doesn't shoot at the wrong target. It actually shoots at the Marder now. But the Marder, with some support from the other helicopter, goes down. And oh, before it can get the leader, it goes down now. Ah! The leader is on 1 HP. That could be a game deciding factor if that survives. And the Pointig stays at plus 200. But another play. Well, the IHawk does miss. And now the Mudschützen are in range. And the leader is about to go down. Is about to go down. They're actually shooting at them. What are they shooting at? I think they shortly fired at the Milan. Now they're firing at the Grenadier. There's another infantry unit moving forward. And an SPV. And the leader does make it out alive by some miracle. There's already a gravestone with that name on it that was prepared and still not. was it SPV? SPG? I'm not sure what the unit was called. It does go down. Whatever it was called, it died. Eyehawk. One more rocket. Mordschützen getting shot by the Mardas from afar. Not much they can do. Should have tried to run away, of course, but wasn't really going to work out very well. Now a Pioneer with a Fuchs as support in the forest against the Fallschirmjäger Einsatzgruppe. The Lux in the north is moving forward to get some more vision over this zone. But maybe the Me will be able to find and destroy it. Some more infantry units as support. And the leader is getting healed by the supply truck. But the supply truck dies to the Meadows. I actually think there was also the Marder that died to the Meadows. I wasn't looking at the moment, but I was expecting that to happen. Lux in the north went down to the helicopter. Tornado IDS 80 now in the skies. So far no artillery, which would be, well, no, I'm not sure if that would really be that helpful at the moment, since things are still going a bit back and forth. I thought for the leader, but the leader could move perhaps before it really hits. But now the leader is under fire, it's in a bad position, infantry units also moving forward. The Meadows with 1250 meter range might be able to get the Marder. Does get a hit. While the leader goes down, T-55 moving forward. T-55 in the north got destroyed. Plane goes down at the same time. Marder is destroyed, but now the Meadows out of rockets have to fall back and actually goes down to the Gepard before. So now the T-55 can shoot at the Gepard. Might be able to get the kill there. Pioneer did fight the Einsatzgruppe and did win. So maybe that will be annoying for the red side now. But the important fight is probably in the center. And if this area can be secured and the units killed off, or if the blue side will be able to push back in. Currently the red side on a +1. Helicopter goes down. And 29 minutes still left to play, so that +1 would be enough for a victory by itself. Since it is a mirrored map and you have a zone in the center, it's not necessary really have a back point. Basically, you have an uneven amount of zones, and as a result, just having one more than your opponent is the difference maker. So the center zone is already doing what it needs to do with a +1 tick. Oh, another infantry unit caught in transport. But now the Mordschützen SVD out of anti-tank rockets. Pioneers in the south going down to the SPV and Mordschützen. And some more infantry reinforcement for this hill with forest. And there continues to be the support of IFVs and Gepards to get some kills from range where the infantry units can't defend themselves. The tank might be able to pick off some units now. Does get a hit against the against the Marder Milan. And is stressed out a bit, but does get the kill and can continue to push forward. Seaplane, not able to get a kill and is destroyed. So again, seaplane not making it through. And there was a transport with a leader going down to the T-55. So this reinforcement route is now under threat by these units. So that's very annoying for the blue side. He has to unload this far away from the zone, has to retreat his tank, and has to secure it first before he can do something, or he has to reroute all of his units through a different road. Seaplane again, and I think once again it didn't. Well, I think there was a second gear part maybe that went down, but the seaplane is making out alive at least. But yeah, there's still a gear part, and we do have an IHawk with supply truck next to it that is out of ammo though. So the IHawk isn't resupplied anymore at the moment. Nothing going on in the south. Nothing going up in the north. So the battle continues to be decided in the center. Just 2 more infantry units from the blue side currently holding the corner of the zone. We do have a leader Leopard 2A3 and the Iltungsführungs units over here. So there are enough CVs around to contest the zone. Maybe with some smoke play. But it's more like a temporary measure, not to make a finishing blow or to hold it for a longer time. So the better way would be to secure actually an area of the center. But that looks pretty difficult at the moment. The outside areas of the center zone can be fired at by the IFVs and Gepards. So securing those worked pretty well for the blue side before. But to get further into the inside is pretty difficult. There are some lines of sight that can be used, but then your units are under threat by, for example, the T-55 that comes around from the north. It might also be an interesting map for some flanking attacks, similar as we saw in the first map with the helicopters, so that you just fly through in the north and then try to get, for example, Alpha with 2 points, so that would be a big point swing, and until the enemy takes care of it, should bring you a lot of points. And depending on how you want to play it, if you try to defend it or just get some points, you can load the CV back into the helicopter and try to fly away after capturing the zone, and not even try to contest it for a while. But it would force the opponent to send some units there, send a CV there, and you get some points in the meantime. A lot of units now trying to secure this forest so that the reinforcement road can be used again. So that was a really important play for the red side. Fuchs dodges the missile thanks to the smoke. Looks getting some damage done in the south. And we can see that the spam of Panzergrenadiers with the Marder Milans does continue. That can be a very annoying strategy of the second Panzergrenadiers for the opponent. But as mentioned, the Panzergrenadiers themselves, just 6 HP, aren't really that durable. And the Marders can also get picked off quite quickly by many units, so it can be annoying, but it can also be, well, not work out. That can also very much happen. One of the heavy tanks for this division, the Leopard 2A3, now comes to support the front line, and the other Leopard, I think it was just the Leopard leader so far, but it's also a 16 armor, 20 pen gun tank. But so far no other Leopard, not even the cheaper variations. And as I say that, there is a Leopard 1A5 coming in, and together with a Fallschirmjäger infantry unit in transport. This looks like a wonderful place for some rocket launcher artillery, just for big area effect damage. Poe is now getting secured, and now he will try to turn things around, that he uses this area of the forest to pressure the side of the red forces, of the RegMonkey, while Styx still being stuck in the center with his infantry units in the buildings, not able to push through. Strong defensive line of units from the red side empty supply truck, maybe to bait some anti-tank ammunition. MiG coming in, gets out a rocket, but does get hit, and what does make it out alive? No damage dealt to the blue forces. Will be interesting to see if this Leopard will now be able to survive this battle. Since the planes aren't really working at the moment, well, as I say that the IHawk actually got destroyed, but my idea was maybe he should use some artillery instead of planes to try and take out this tank. Otherwise it will be harder. There's a chance for just pushing in from the north and getting a side shot perhaps, or with infantry units from close. But this push in the south makes it very annoying at the moment for the RegMonkey on the red side. We also do have the AT helicopters in the skies, so they can also help out. While the Leopard, it has to smoke off, but it will now get into vision. And that might be... no, it doesn't shoot. So I can't finish my sentence, but so much Schützen killed. It's not what I expected, but yeah, it works out. The leader tank of Styx goes down. The zone in the center, once again being captured by the red forces. Back to 300 points. Oh, well, it has 300 points and is back to a +1 score now. And we see the cheap Par 1A1 helicopters for the 2nd Panzergrenadier. Maybe they will be able to do some work in the south, but in the north I think there were several AA units. We can see the coup. I'm not seeing much more at the moment, but AA plane, the MiG-29A, gets one of them. The IHawk not able to land a hit. Gepard in the south able to push it away. That's some damage done. The cheap Leopard 1A5 in the north. Try to check out if something can be done over here. Interestingly, during the skirmishes in the center went on and one Gepard died and a helicopter went down. IHawk is out of ammo, so seaplane does make it out alive. The red side was able to secure the northern area by moving a bit forward with some units and had enough capacities to secure this area. The leader is on the way, and that would bring an even bigger point tick for the red side of RegMonkey. So maybe he will be able to redeem himself on the second map with a very nice play on the center zone. Even trying to push forward a bit in the south. HE bomber comes in, not finding a target, and the coup immediately destroys it. No chance. T-55 reinforcement. There is no leader moving forward at the moment for the center zone, so I'm not sure if there's much hope at the moment for the blue side of Styx. He will lose the northern zone soon, and maybe the red forces will even go to Echo if they dare to try and advance further. So while there's quite a bit of a nice force for the center now, they aren't able to accomplish anything without a CV. And there's still a lot of forces from the red side in the defense. So I don't see that that works out. Modschützen might not make it into range, and they definitely won't make it into range now, as the HE bomber settles the subject. Northern zone is captured, +3 tick now for the red side. So maybe one final push for the blue side. I'm not expecting much more. Modschützen getting killed by the Lux and the Leopard. Helicopter actually getting killed by the Schilker now. So the BMP-1 will be able to survive. Milan 2 down to 1 rocket. MiG plane getting some AA coverage. T-55 probably going to kill the Milan. Now that's out of rockets. One more shot. No, loses line of sight. But the looks is getting destroyed by the Conquers. SPG not in range, I assume. And a rocket flies over the entire screen, but doesn't hit the MiG. And the MiG-AT. Maybe for this Leopard, if you can see it. And the blue side, Styx, gives up before the plane can reach the target. And we have a 1-1. Both sides win one map. And RegMonkey on the second map with a 1.78 kill ratio and a very convincing victory. Kills. You can see Milan 2 got some SPVs, but not really that significant. Another Milan, but really no unit that got a significant amount of kills. The Ihawk, one MiG and one helicopter. But on the other side we already see the first unit got a Fallschirmjäger in the Iltis transport, Milan 2, Panzergrenadier, Fuchs, Pioneer and Armada Milan. The coup got Tornado, Harrier and one helicopter. The Einsatzgruppe, several infantry units and transports. So a lot more efficiency on this unit, this T-55, a bunch of kills, including the leader, Big AA, also a plane and a helicopter shot down, T-55 again, just overall, in this defensive play in the center, much better play by the red side, able to shoot from the forest to get some flanking damage done, and in the end, the push in the north sealed the deal and got RegMonkey the win for the second map. It was a really nice match. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.